Welcome back to Behind the Counter Pharmacy and Beyond, the podcast where real stories meet real business lessons. I'm your host, Solomon Abode, and today we're diving into part 2 of the pharmacy numbers game. In part 1 of this series, we pulled back the curtains on how the NHS contract really works. We talked about category M, clawbacks, average item values, and why many pharmacy owners are running themselves into the ground without even realizing they're losing money. If you missed part 1, I strongly recommend going back to listen. It lays the foundation for everything we're about to unpack today. Because in this episode, we're moving from understanding the problem to fixing it. I'm calling this one the margin killers, what's draining your pharmacy and how to fix it. Because once you understand how pharmacy funding really works, the next question then becomes, where is the money going? And perhaps more importantly, what can you do to fix it? Today, we're breaking down the hidden costs, the silent leaks, and the operational habits that are quietly draining your business every single month. I'll be sharing the hard lessons we have learned over the years, from giving away too much for free to not tracking the real cost of things like deliveries, NOMAD trades, and staff time. We'll also talk about solutions, simple, practical, and focused solutions, the kind that gives you clarity and do not overwhelm you. Because the truth is, you're not just running a pharmacy, you're running a business. Whether you're a new contractor or you've been in the game for 10 years, this applies to all of us. And every single business needs to know what's coming in and what's slipping out the back. So if you're ready to get serious about protecting your margins, this episode is for you. And as usual, if you're enjoying the podcast, don't forget to hit follow or subscribe, depending on where you're listening, so you never miss an episode. I'd also love to hear from you. What's resonating with you? What could be better? And what topics would you love to hear more about? Your input really matters, and I appreciate every single one of you for being here. Thank you. Let's talk about where the money is leaking out. The reality is, pharmacists lose money every single day, and most don't even realize it. It's strange when you think about it. It's like stepping into a moving treadmill, right? You don't question the pace, you just keep walking. You inherit systems, habits, and routines from people that have gone before you when you take over a new pharmacy. And before long, you're stuck in the same old patterns that are quietly draining your business. And even when you do realize what's going on and what's going wrong, perhaps, there's always a good reason not to change it. We'll tell ourselves things like, we don't want to upset the nursing home. The patients really need it. Well, it's only delivery. We'll lose items if we do it. And my favorite one, the pharmacy across the road will do it if we don't. Does that sound familiar to you? If it does, let's break it down, because you're not alone. These are the things that I call the margin killers, the silent profit leaks that creep into your operations. The first one is free deliveries. Let's be blunt. Every single pharmacy in the country offering a free delivery service today is doing so at a loss. And I'll break it down. For every NHS item dispensed, the NHS pays a fixed activity fee of £1.46 per item. Assuming category M and clawbacks haven't already put you into a loss on the cost of that medicine, this fee is supposed to be your potential profit, right? £1.46. If you deliver 10 items an hour on average, that's £14.60 in total. But the national living wage is £12.21 per hour. When you take into account the employer national insurance and pension, that jumps from £12.21 an hour to £14.41 an hour. That's barely breaking even. And that's before you add fuel, vehicle maintenance, or insurance. So yes, the numbers speak for themselves. Most pharmacies are absorbing these costs silently, and they add up fast. Now, the next one is nursing homes. This one's a tough topic, but it has to be said. I have never really understood this, and I've got to be honest, we're falling foul of this as well, because nursing homes are private businesses. They charge residents thousands of pounds each month, and yet many of them expect everything for free from pharmacies. They want free trolleys, free CD cabinets, free mail charts and email system access, free deliveries, often multiple times a week. And we all oblige to this, typically. We give all of these things for free because we're scared we'd lose the business. But let me ask you, what is the actual cost of holding on to that business? We've been stung more than once by this. You invest time, staff, and resources setting everything up that meets the requirements. The workload is immense, especially when the demand trays. And even if you have an SLA in place, it really means nothing. It's not worth the paper that is signed on when it comes to the nursing home deciding to walk away, because they will do that with no notice and there's little to nothing you can do about it. In my opinion, building your business around nursing homes is dangerous, really dangerous. It's too risky, it's too unstable. There's no contract, no formal funding, and there's no guarantee. You're paying to service another business while yours struggles, and that just does not make sense. Then you move to the NOMAD trays. The calculation here is similar to deliveries. You might be dispensing trays weekly and delivering them weekly, but you're doing that against a 28-day or 56-day prescription. What that means is that you're doing the physical work 4 or 8 times, but only getting paid once for it every 28 days or 56 days. That makes no sense. Each tray can take approximately 30 to 60 minutes from start to finish. And when you add in the weekly delivery, add on consumables and your staff's time, you suddenly realize you're paying for the labor, you're providing the materials, but you're not getting paid. And that's a major loss. Then you've got the underestimated staff cost. Most independent pharmacy owners look at staff costs as just the hourly wage, but that's only part of the story. Once you include the national insurance, pension, holiday pay, training downtime, your true staff cost is approximately 15 to 25% higher than you thought. And in a labor heavy model like pharmacy, that's a margin killer. It's a real margin killer. If you're not tracking this accurately, you're underestimating your true cost base. Then we'll move on to the service leakage, as I call it. I've seen some interesting behaviors in community pharmacy over the years. We all spend hours delivering services, new medicine service, discharge medicine service, CPCS, supervised consumptions, and the rest. But many of us don't claim for them. It's really strange. We get caught up in the paperwork distractions or simply forget to submit the claim. You've done the work, but the money never lands in your account. I call this leaving the back door open. Sometimes the claim is never submitted. Sometimes it's lost. Sometimes the documentation is incomplete. And if you don't spot the missing payments quickly, you lose the chance to recover them. And those small missed payments, over time, they do become major losses. And then finally, you've got the poor stock buying strategy. This is one that is avoidable, but most of us miss it. You're buying from the wrong supplier, not checking what's delivered against what's been invoiced, missing totes charged but never received, not picking up short dated items in deliveries, over ordering items that expire before they're used, and finally holding stock that should have been returned but we've missed the returns window. It's happened to all of us. It's all lost money and it happens every single day. If you're buying based on a habit, not margin, you're leaving profit on the table. And there are software and technology now that can help you to cascade prices and make sure that you're buying from the cheapest supplier. And I personally believe every single pharmacy should be investing in these now. Expired stock is cash in the bin. It's simple as that. If you're not rotating properly or you're not managing returns efficiently, you're wasting money before it even gets a chance to earn for you. These margin killers aren't loud. They don't wave red flags, but they're there every single day. And if you don't track them, measure them, and act on them, they'll keep bleeding your business dry. Trust me, I have seen this over the years. And here is the reality. As pharmacists, we're wired to help. We say yes, we go above and beyond. We fill the gap when the system doesn't. But here is the hard truth: being generous without structure is costing your business. I'll repeat that again. Being generous without structure is costing your business. You think it's just one tray, it's just one delivery. Let's do it for now, we'll sort it later. But when you multiply that across hundreds of patients every single month, you're running a community service, not a business. And let me be clear, I do believe in serving our community. But if you don't set boundaries, charge appropriately, and measure the impact, you won't be able to keep serving at all. And your community needs you. After more than 14 years as a pharmacy contractor and with all the inside knowledge that comes from being in the trenches, I can honestly say this: there's no magic wand, no instant fix. Just like many others in the sector, we began to feel the squeeze a few years ago. The margins were disappearing. We knew something had to change. Could we have just woken up one morning and decided to start charging for deliveries and NOMAD trays? Yes, absolutely, we could have. And I know some pharmacy contractors that have done exactly that. And there isn't a right or wrong approach here. But is that the only way? No. Is there another approach? Absolutely. Some of the large multiples have gone down the route of charging and then eventually phasing out these services completely. That might work for them, but we wanted to take a different path. We needed to make sure that whatever path we ended up with worked for us. And you know what they say: there's more than one way to skin a cat, and Rome wasn't built in a day. And they also say that the first step to solving a problem is admitting that there is one. We have admitted that there's an issue to be solved here. What we need to identify is the right strategy to solving that problem, and we accept that it's going to take time to do it. At Midway Pharmacy, we're still on this journey. We're actively reviewing our delivery and NOMAD trade services to explore practical, sustainable options. One thing is certain: something has to change. We cannot carry on as we are currently. The only questions are what, how, and when are these changes going to happen? A while ago, we ran a full internal audit across all our branches. We're offering hundreds of free trades and deliveries every month. Staff costs were rising and service claim processes were patchy. The goal of the audit was to get a true picture of what it was costing us and where the leaks were. Alongside the delivery and compliance trays, we identified things like missed service claims from our CPCS, NMS, and TMS. We were delivering the services but not claiming for them. Expired stock was everywhere. We were missing items from wholesaler deliveries that we never really picked out and claimed for. We had numerous unreturned, unwanted stock that were eventually building up to become expired. And we had delays in NHS payments due to incorrect endorsements. We translated our findings into KPIs and embedded these into our in house system, giving everyone visibility. That might sound simple, but honestly, it was a game changer. What happened was suddenly everyone understood what we're tracking and why. That awareness alone sparked a shift, and the improvements followed. We began timing how long trays were taking. We calculated mileage on deliveries. We measured the labor cost of unprofitable services. From there, we built SOPs and processes and piloted new workflows in selected branches. Some of the changes we made included texting patients before deliveries to ensure they were at home and offering collection alternatives. We stopped posting medications through letterboxes for patients. We introduced a compliance aid assessment tool to assess patient needs before offering them trays. We restricted NOMAD services to patients with 7-day scripts only, and we switched weekly deliveries on 28-day prescriptions to monthly schedules. Within just a few months, we started seeing real savings, not because we cut corners, but because we made smarter choices. And you know what? Patients understood because we communicated it clearly. There's more work to do, I must admit. This is a phased approach. What we want to do first is understand the full impact and make sure the solutions are rolled out the right way at the right time. But here's what I've realized over this process: fixing the margins doesn't mean compromising on care, it means protecting your ability to keep caring. And it's important to remember that. In order to do this right, you would need to be able to calculate and track what really matters. And here are some key tools and numbers to master that. First, you will need to understand your cost per script. And in order to do this, you must add up all your total monthly expenses: staff, rent, overheads, and divide this by the number of NHS items dispensed in that month. Then you've got your cost of goods per item. And to do this, you take your total drug bill and divide it by the number of items. Now you compare it to your average item value, and then you can see if you're making any margin. Operating profit per service. This is done by tracking each service, how long it takes, who does it, what you get paid, and what it actually costs in labor and admin. And what you'd realize with this is your services that are pharmacist dependent would have a lower, potentially, operating profit than the ones that are being delivered by other members of the team. And it's important that you understand this so you can price accordingly. Then you have your weekly forecast versus your PPD reconciliation. So don't wait 2 to 3 months to discover a shortfall. That is dangerous. We've been there before. What you need to do is to start forecasting your NHS income weekly, your overall income really, and then you reconcile them monthly. Service profitability audit. Which services are profitable? Which ones aren't? You need to cut off the dead weight and improve your process. And finally, you need to log the time for your staff. Ask your team to track how long it's taking them and how long they're spending on key services or admin tasks. This will help you build accurate cost models. Knowing the numbers is just one step. What you do with those numbers is what changes the game. You need to set up weekly tracking rhythm, use dashboards and spreadsheets to monitor trends, review your PPD statements closely, and train your team to think about time and cost. And finally, don't be afraid to ask for help, whether it's your accountant, your team, or a consultant. This isn't about cutting corners. It's about making better decisions. So your pharmacy isn't just surviving, it's sustainable, profitable, and future-proof. Before we wrap up, here are today's key takeaways. 1. Margin killers are often hidden in plain sight. Free deliveries, NOMAD trays, admin time. They're silent costs that can drain you and your business. 2. Being busy isn't the same as being profitable. Every service must be tracked, costed, and justified. If there are services that are not profitable, you need to get rid of them and spend your time on the profitable ones. 3. Fixing your margins doesn't mean compromising on care. It simply means protecting your business so you can keep caring. 4. Clarity is power. When you know the numbers, you make better, faster, and less emotional decisions. And finally, you don't have to figure it all out alone. Get advice, build systems, and treat your pharmacy like the business it is. That's it for today's episode of Behind the Counter. If this episode helped you see your business in a new light, please share it with another pharmacy owner or someone who needs to hear it. Make sure to follow, subscribe, or even save this episode so that you can listen to it again later. And if you want to have a quiet word about what's going on in your pharmacy, drop me a DM over at _BTC podcast. No pressure, just a conversation. Next time, we're doing something completely new. For the first time, I'll be joined by a guest, and not just any guest. I'm bringing in Ashley Cohen, a seasoned pharmacy contractor and a board member of the National Pharmacy Association. Ashley is also a chair of the Community Pharmacy West Yorkshire, one of the largest LPCs in the country. He's been in the game for years and has seen pharmacy evolve from every angle: ownership, leadership, and national policy. It's also our first ever video episode, and we're going deep into what's happening right now in community pharmacy, from funding pressures and the future of the contract to what real leadership looks like in tough times. You won't want to miss it. If you've been following the journey so far, trust me, this next episode's a big one. And as always, remember, the best prescription for success is resilience. Thank you for listening.